Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up.
Good Monday morning. We are not in studio this week. We are all coming to you from our respective homes, wherever that may be. This is Run It Back. I'm Michelle Beadle, joined by my friends, Stadium Insider Shams Charania, Chandler Parsons, Lou Will on the end there. Guys, did we have a fabulous weekend? We're ready to talk hoops right now. Everyone, yes?
Let's do it.
Yes, yeah, we're ready to do it. And we've got a debut. Another one. I feel like with this man and the word debut, I've now said it 5 different times, but James Harden will make his debut as a Clipper this evening. First one, Shams, what's the latest on the lineup? What's it going to look like?
Yeah, it's going to be Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Ivica Zubac. That will be the starting 5 moving forward for the Clippers, from what I'm told. And this really started off last week. Once James Harden got traded, the Clippers had decisions to make. What do you do with Russell Westbrook? And Lou Williams, obviously on our show, has been going to bat for Russell Westbrook to stay in the lineup. And from what I'm told, Ty Lue had a meeting with all 4 of his star players, superstar players, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, got them all in a room and essentially told them there's only one thing for us to do here, and that's win a championship. And that's going to take sacrifice. That's going to take all of you 4 sacrificing for each other, just trying to win a ring. If there's any other agenda here, it's not going to work. And if everyone buys in, everyone's on the same page, look for me as the coach to help bring you guys to the promised land. And I think when you go with this star-studded lineup, for right now, Ty Lue has decided that Russell Westbrook will be the guy that's going to be on the ball. He's going to be the point guard to start games, and then expect for James Harden to stagger, spend some time on the ball when Russell Westbrook subs out. And James Harden could also play with the second unit, lead the second unit. So right now, they're going to try to figure out how those 4 stars and Zubac can play together. This will be the lineup moving forward. Terrence Mann is still out of the lineup. We'll see even when he comes back if he has a chance to reclaim a starting spot. But these 4 will have an opportunity to start unless something goes awry. And I think look to see who exactly is going to sacrifice. Will there be any hiccups?
By the way, those 4 stars and Zubac, that just hurts. That cuts to the heart, Shams. I'm not gonna lie. All right, Lou.
Right.
You've been saying it. I mean, you have said it from minute 1 when this entire thing started to play out. How are you feeling? Are you surprised at all that they're keeping it as is?
No, not at all. I think if I'm Coach Lou, I got to see what I got. You know, I made this move for the star power. I didn't make this move to find who's my great 6th man going to be. You know, that wasn't the intention of making this deal. You did this to put 4 stars on the floor with Zubac or whoever else that's going to fill in that 5th spot to give them an opportunity to win basketball games and ultimately an NBA championship. So I'm not surprised at all. At the beginning of the season, you got to start all 4 of those guys and see what happens.
I'm weirdly excited to see however this thing plays out, Chandler. Look, we had Harden last week, immediately made viral comments about he's not a system player. He is the system. How are we thinking this is going to work? I mean, his mentality it's different. Do you think this is set up for success or something else?
I do, because when you look at this team, not only do they have a great starting 5 now, they have a great bench too. The ability to be able to keep Terrence Mann, to keep Norman Powell, Bones Highland, PJ Tucker, and Plumlee, like they're deep. That's a 10 deep team that has experience, that has scoring, that has defense. So I'm not worried about that. This comment, I feel like this was more of a shot at Philly. He was he was controlled. Right. This is directed towards Daryl Morey. This is nothing to his, welcoming to LA. It is very Kanye of him and very out there. But this, I think, was more of a shot at Daryl Morey in that organization, that I'm not a system guy. I'm not just going to throw the ball into Joel Embiid anymore. Like, I am the system. A little odd timing to say that, going into a system with other stars that he doesn't know how it's going to pan out. But I like the move. I think it's a great situation. I think he's home. I think he knows now all eyes are on him. This is a team that's got out to a hot start. And Tyronn Lue is going with starting with all of them to not ruffle any feathers, which I also respect. But he's in a great situation where he doesn't have to be the man every single night. There's going to be nights where he can turn it on and go get a bucket and go have 30, 40-point games. But he should be comfortable playing alongside all these stars. But like I said, I think this comment was more directed towards Philly in that situation.
And I wonder how long before those comments stop altogether. Divorce is hard, you guys. It's very hard. It's hard on the children. Shams, behind the scenes, like, you know how it is in this business, right? We now take every word, every press conference. I'm watching Kawhi Leonard answer questions, who's already not an emotive dude to begin with, but I'm like trying to read between the lines. Is he excited? Is he mad? What's the deal? Behind the scenes with the Clippers, how has this entire transition gone?
Well, I think it's gone as best as it can, because this is the thing. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, they all want to play together. Now, does it last and how fluid that's going to be? Like, that remains to be seen. But this move by the Clippers, there's been a lot of player empowerment. We talk about the words player empowerment. We know about guys, load managing at different points over the last 4 years in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Like, they've really empowered their players. And the fact that Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Russell Westbrook all wanted James Harden on this team, they want it to work. I mean, it's the similar situation a few years ago in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, those guys in Brooklyn, they wanted James Harden on the team. He gets there, and that situation happens the way it happens. But there's a lot of motivation here. And I think Ty Lue being the coach there, I think will help. Lue played for Ty. This is a guy that can manage stars. He did it in Cleveland. He's done it so far in LA. And I think when you look at these four guys, like Ty Lue, I don't know if there's a better coach for them. I mean, I'm curious from Lue's perspective. You had Ty Lue. Like, what is he telling his players right now? Like, you would know.
Yeah, I think they're just going into it. And you got to ride this group until the wheels fall off. I think we're looking ahead, worrying about who's going to come off the bench, this and that. If these guys go 7-0 or 7-1, 7-2, I think you keep this group together as the starter. So, right now, I think they're built for success. Somebody has to obviously take the back seat when it comes to that starting lineup. But I think you rotate those guys where you have two of them in or you have two of them out. Two guys can go early subs. I remember when we were playing, usually PG would go out pretty early, and then Kawhi would come. Then Kawhi would come in, and they would kind of switch on and off. And we always had one of those guys on the floor. So being that they have 4 stars, I think you keep 2 of those guys on the floor at all times. And then you got Bones coming off the bench. You got Terrence Mann that'll be back in the lineup. And you have Norman Powell as well. So I think that gives them great balance on both of those groups.
Yeah,
and a trade,
go ahead,
a trade of this magnitude, it doesn't get done without the approval by Kawhi Leonard, by Paul George, by Russell Westbrook. So these guys are fully prepared for this to either work or not work. That's something that they definitely signed off of. This doesn't just happen overnight. Front office ownerships, they get the main guy's opinion. And we are making a big deal about, who's going to start. We see that now. But the biggest thing for me is who's going to finish the game. Is Russell or is James? Are they going to be pissed if they're not in the game to close it and to finish out the game? So that's going to be the next storyline and the headline that we can start nitpicking on. But I think that if they get off to a great start and they keep of course they won't change it. But if they start losing 2, 3, 4 games and going a little skid, then it comes to a Ty Lue problem where he's got to make the adjustment. He's got to kind of see what's the next best thing. But there's no reason to even go there yet because it hasn't happened.
And Chandler, that sucks because a lot of teams don't have that pressure on them. Like the Clippers almost can't afford to go on a 2-game losing streak without somebody expecting them to make changes in the lineup.
2 games, that's it.
Everything they do. By the way, it could be 1 game, and then there's going to be headlines talking about Tyronn Lue. When are you going to do it? Oh, James he's ruining it already. If they lose tonight, we're gonna go nuts tomorrow. Are you kidding me? So that's all part of it. That's the bed now they're sleeping in it.
Yeah, that segment's we've already plotted that out. We have it ready to go in case they lose. We're ready for tomorrow. Other things happening over the weekend, of course, was the start of the in-season tournament. And I can tell you, I'm a pretty intelligent human being. Still don't get it, but I'm in it, Shams. General reaction to this has been what? I've heard so much about the courts, but the actual tournament, what?
Yeah, I think, Michelle, there's a mix of what Bones Highland said last week in terms of I have no clue what's going on. Like, you hear that from half the players. And then the other half, I think you sense a level of excitement. Like Steph Curry, Damian Lillard going out of their way saying, we're just trying to get to Vegas. We're just trying to play to get to Vegas. Now, how do you do that? You just have to win games. You have to win games in group play over the next few weeks, and that gets you there. And I think right now in group play, what's going on over the next few weeks, that is going to be a little bit of confusion, not only for fans, for players, as we get used to it. But I think this is only year one of it, right? So once you get past the group play and they whittle it down to, I think, 6 teams, and then you go to Vegas, once we start to see a precedent of how this gets narrowed down, how it gets whittled down, how the teams that go to Vegas for the semifinals, for the finals, that will be an intriguing moment. Those teams that go to Vegas, there will be, I think, a level of some stature to those teams, at least in the regular season. It provides some intensity to these regular season games, and that's what Adam Silver, what the NBA's wanted. And yes, we know about the prize money, $500,000 for the winning team. I do think it for the star players, for guys like LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, I don't know how much that means, but for the rest of the roster, I mean, when you think about the 5th starter on down, there is great value in that, and that is something that is being discussed by the players.
I just want.
Hey, Shams.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, God, here he goes.
Listen, I don't care who you are. 500K in Vegas is 500K in Vegas. All right. So I think once.
Or it could be more.
Listen, 500 to the winner, 200 to the loser, and 100K to the guys that, the quarters, I believe. Everybody is going to, if you make it to Vegas, you're leaving with a nice, cool, sizable extra check. So I think now that this tournament has started, I think the money has become the incentive. I think Chandler can agree to that. Any extra cheese is good cheese for us. Trust me.
I mean, you could buy yourself a nice gift. If I get it, it's like a watch, a beautiful watch, if you will.
Or it's like a Maybach.
That's
a nice check.
Yeah, maybe I should aim higher. I was going with the 100. That's right. Now I'm thinking about what I would buy. Courts. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't asked about this over the weekend a few times, and I sort of was BSing the entire time, I think this is what it is. But then I would distract everyone with the courts, which is what I think the league was doing, Chandler. I've heard raves and I've heard ridicule. Where do you stand? I mean, this one right here is crazy. Chicago's nuts.
Yeah, I'm going to preface this by saying I did have a couple cocktails this weekend, and I was playing in a golf tournament. And I just thought my TV was malfunctioning. I thought something was. I thought I was hallucinating. I think these are way too busy. I don't like them at all. I understand they're different, and it's a different look, somewhat similar to the alternate jerseys or some of these city edition jerseys that are also god awful. These courts suck, and it's probably confusing. It's probably confusing to play on them, but it's very confusing to watch them. And I legitimately thought I was having a technology problem with the TVs watching this. But I don't know, maybe next time, next round, and again, I'm not joking. I still don't really know what's happening in this tournament. I know the money. I know the Vegas. No doubt in my mind also, Steph Curry is also getting paid for these social media posts because he's hashtagging in-season tournament. There's no way that's from the goodness of his heart that he's hyped for that. Stop it. No way. But yeah, the courts, just go back to the regular courts. Make the jerseys look like that, but too busy for me.
No, you can't, Chandler. If you make the jerseys change, people wouldn't notice because the jersey, they'd already changed like every other game anyway. So this way on Tuesdays and Fridays, which is what I've figured out now in November, when we're flipping through NBA games, we'll be like, oh, this one counts towards the in-season tournament. I think, if I have it right.
It's a funny situation too, because I'm playing in this golf tournament and these guys are asking me oh, where's this game? And I'm like, guys, I have no idea.
No clue.
What's going on here?
It's in hell. The Chicago court looked like you were in hell.
Yeah, it was confusing for everybody.
I know it's just started and none of us can really explain it clearly. Maybe Shams. Is there anything you would change? If we're going to sit here and play Fantasyland and things that we would do to make everything seem more important or get more interest, I don't know. Is there anything you would change, Lou? Would the money be different? Would a number of teams that make it be different? What are we thinking? Or do we need to revisit this come December?
I think we just see how it plays out and see what happens. But if I'm going to change anything, I'm going to double down with Chandler. The courts are horrendous. They're a little busy. And like I mentioned before, it's a little gimmicky to me. I think the NBA has a great reputation of being innovative, being ahead of times as far as the entertainment side of the business go. But the courts were just too busy for me. It was hard to watch, so I didn't tune in a lot.
The courts are so polarizing. I kind of love that. Believe it or not, we had other games that actually did happen. They were played on normal courts over the weekend, and we start with a little Suns Pistons. There you go. That's a little easier. 120-106 win for the Suns. Kevin Durant finished this thing with 41, 4, and 5. Eric Gordon had 21. Cade Cunningham, I know he's been mentioned a few times, 26 points. Look, KD is the only guy that's played every game so far, Shams. I know we're early in the season, but what's the deal with Beal? When can Booker come back on the reg? What's going on?
Yeah, just off the top, like, let's give Kevin Durant a lot of love. I mean, 30 points a game, what he's doing, like, in the absence of Brad Beal and Devin Booker for the majority of the season so far at different points. Book's been in and out of the lineup. Like, he's been big time. 30 points, almost 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 52% from the field, over a block a game. He's been big time. Right now, the Suns, the expectation is that over the next 7 to 10 days, they're going to get Beal and Booker back in the lineup and finally have their big three in the lineup together. And I think that's what they're working toward. That's what this whole team wants. You saw Yusuf Nurkic in the postgame last night say, we're just trying to get guys healthy in the lineup so we can see what this looks like. And so for Brad Beal, he has not played yet this season, but I'm told there is optimism that he makes his debut on Wednesday in Chicago or on Friday against the Lakers. For Devin Booker, he's expected to miss Wednesday's game against the Bulls, but anywhere from Friday against the Lakers, they play the Thunder as well, and also the Timberwolves between this Friday and next Wednesday. They're hopeful somewhere in that pocket of games he's able to come back in the lineup. But look for the next 7 to 10 days to finally be the point where these three guys finally get back on the court. It's tough to judge this team without seeing how these guys look. This is what they've been working all summer toward.
Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, they got swept by the Spurs. I just want to make sure we got that in there. I didn't see it anywhere in the rundown. Look, KD, shout out Eddie Gonzalez, friend of the show, but he's been fighting the good fight on Twitter, trying to bring recognition to the fact that Kevin Durant looks like old school Kevin Durant again. Chandler, is he, I'm going to ask you about this. Is he top 5 in the league?
Yeah, he's top 5. And I want to say I think if we run the tapes back, I think me and Lou have always had him in the top 5. It's hard not to when he's on the floor. He's top 5. And like we're saying, give him his flowers. He's been there. He's playing every single game. He is helping them tread water. And I will say, these guys that are getting all this valuable experience, the Okogis, the Goodwins, the Yutas, Eubanks, these are guys that their minutes are all Grayson Allen, even Bates Diop. These guys' minutes are going to go down when they're fully loaded, when they get Beal and Booker, and even Damian Lee's going to provide some more outside shooting. So the fact that KD is basically taking this on himself, putting up those numbers with this squad and kind of keeping them above water, keeping them off to a solid start. Besides those 2 blips against San Antonio, really 1 blip, the one play at the end of the game, the other one, they just got dominated. But besides those 2 games, this team has looked solid and help is on the way. So that's the biggest thing for them. Like Shams just said, it's hard to judge this team based off what we see now because it's going to be a totally different product once they get 2 all-NBA level players back on the floor. So it is getting a little concerning, though. I thought it's his back, right?
Yeah.
Shams, I thought that was 1, 2 games.
He has a back strain. Yep.
This is lingering now a little longer than just a normal back spasm. So I don't love that.
Lou, I want to ask you about Kevin Durant. He's obviously one of the prettiest players to watch. It's so effortless and smooth. If you had to look around the league, who would you say, if anybody, has a better arsenal of offensive weapons than Kevin Durant?
Nobody. It's the easy money sniper. 7 foot, gives you a lot of different looks, can bring the ball up the court, take you off the dribble. When a team needs a bucket, he's going straight to the block. He's playing in the mid. He's playing in the mid post, playing in the mid range. Obviously, a great 3-point shooter. He has every single thing. I like to say that he has a little bit of everything. He has a lot of different pieces to his game that it makes him unguardable at 7 feet. That's the reason that he's an idol to guys like Wemby and the Bowls of the world, because they strive to do the things that he's been able to do on the offensive end of the basketball court.
I see little flashes of KD in moments with Wemby. I'm like, oh, I see it. Other games, Cavs, Warriors. Cavs win this one. 115-104. Donovan Mitchell finished with 31, 7 assists. Garland, 24 and 7. Curry did put in his 28. And then Draymond with his 18, 8, 3 steals. Look, Donovan Mitchell is the leader. I mean, there's no question about that, Shams. But he's entering the final year of the deal this summer. I know this Knicks thing will always linger over he could have been, what could have been, all of that. How much pressure is on this Cleveland team to get a deal done and keep him in town?
There's definitely a level of pressure. I think the pressure starts now to win at a high level, try to advance in the playoffs from front office, the coaching staff, on down to the players. When you have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, they have Karis LeVert, they beefed up the roster, got Max Strus. There's a level of expectation that this roster is built to win. And if they do fall short, there's going to be questions that they have to answer. And so, yes, last year they got back in the playoffs for the first time in 25 years without having LeBron James on their roster. So that was a good step in the right direction. But I think now with Donovan Mitchell, this is a guy that wants to win. He wants to compete. He did not do their 3-year extension before the start of the season. He decided to play out the year. He's going to be eligible in the offseason for a 4-year, $200 million deal. That's what's going to be on the line, whether he signs it or not. The Cavs traded draft picks. They traded Lauri Markkanen in that trade for him a summer ago. So he wants to win. They want to win. There is a level of expectation, a level of pressure on the organization to win.
So much pressure. Chandler, over on the Warriors side, they're 6-2, and Steph just sort of quietly putting up some MVP type numbers. I don't know if we reached the point in the Steph Curry movie where we just take it for granted, we move on. And right now he's plus 1,500 to win an NBA title again with Golden State. Is there some legitimacy in the fact that this could be a contending team and that we've just overlooked them?
Yeah, and you can't never sleep on this team. That they have the resume, they have the roster, they have the talent. I think in order for this to happen, they got to be clicking on all cylinders, which it seems to be that they're doing. They got to have Steph Curry playing at an MVP level. They have to have Draymond Green playing in that Defensive Player of the Year, doing a little bit of everything. Chris Paul seems to be embracing this role off the bench, which is great. Have him in the Sixth Man of the Year talks. And then you got to have Clay and Andrew Wiggins both healthy, doing what they do, scoring, defending, knocking down shots. So yeah, I think this team, they have the experience, and I'm never going to sleep on Steph Curry ever until literally he's not playing. So they have all the intangibles, they have all the tools. It's just they have to, for me, they all have to be playing at an elite level, and they have to keep defending. Shots aren't going to fall every single night. This team has the capability of being a great defensive team, even when shots aren't falling. They do that. Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat. It's going to be, picture beating this team 4 times in the postseason. Like that's going to be tough for anybody. I don't care who it is.
No, and the CP3 question, it lingered. I mean, maybe more for the media than they did in-house. Who knows? But he's coming off the bench. He's embracing what seems to be his role now on this team, Lou. Any surprise on your part at all at that?
No, I think he's at the point of his career. He just wants to win, give himself an opportunity to win a championship. And look, this Golden State team, they're proven winners. They're 4-time NBA champions. You kind of got to humble yourself when you go into that system. And so I think Chris is in his, his 19th season, I want to say. And, I think he's buying into what's needed.
Sixth Man of the Year right now, he's plus 700. You know how I like to do my pluses and my minuses, guys. Where do we stand on that? Is there a decent possibility?
Decent.
Who's above? Who's above?
I would say Malik Monk right now.
He's the top dog right now.
Oh, he's the favorite. Yeah, Malik Monk's a good. We have to see again, small sample size, but yeah, as long as he plays is he going to play 65 games too to be eligible for this?
Oh, right. That's a good point. 65 games. Yeah, I'm going to say maybe. It's a strong maybe on my part.
Okay.
By the way, out of the respect for his manly parts, we are not showing the Draymond Green low light from last night, courtesy of Jared Allen. But it was weird to see Draymond on the receiving end of that one. All right, Hornets, Mavericks. Mavs holding off the Hornets 124-118. Luka, 23, 12, and 9. LaMelo, 30, 10, and 13. He had 23 of those in the fourth quarter, 5 threes. We're going to get to the Mavs in a second, Chandler, obviously. But LaMelo, again, he's on a team we don't talk about very often. A 30-point triple-double, 23, like I said, in the fourth. We have Luka in this game. We have Kyrie in this game. And there were times, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like LaMelo was the best player on the floor. Is it possible to say that out loud?
Yeah, because Kyrie and Luka were on the floor at the same time. And then they are definitely better. But listen, this kid's got talent. This kid, he's fun to watch. Like you said, he's in a tough situation where we're not going to see him a lot. They're not going to get in a lot of national TV games. But But man, he's fun to watch, and he plays the game with some flair. It's just tough because he's not going to win very many games. Like I said, he's just not a household name, and he's got the talent to look like the best player on the floor any given night. He's tall. He's got great vision. He can pass the rock. He shoots the ball from deep. He's excited to watch. Kids growing up love that type. They love the Trae Young, the LaMelo Ball, the guys that can hoist up the long threes, that throw passes behind their backs. He's Showtime. It's just he's just kind of in a market and organization that doesn't get as enough attention as other teams do. So it's tough to say, but he looked great last night, especially in the first half.
Why would a team like the Hornets, because there's that group of people that sort of rip on the NBA sometimes. They say that there's just so many teams that have no shot, right? They start the season, zero chance. They're sort of just filler teams. For a team like the Hornets to really thrust themselves into an actual conversation of being relevant, what would it take at this point, Chandler?
I mean, obviously you need players, you need better free agents, you need better signings. It would have helped if Wemby, if they happen to get the number one pick and this kid every single night, and then they're on national TV, then they're getting a little bit more marketing, a little bit more attention, but they just need more talent. I feel like their free agent signings, if you look at the past, they haven't really panned out. Their drafting has been pretty brutal ever since, my draft. They haven't really nailed it from the front office, and I know guys have been in and out. MJ obviously just let go of his stake of ownership, so it seems like they're making some changes. But yeah, it's not like Charlotte's the worst place. It's not the best place. It's not really a destination for guys to go to. I don't think it ever will be. But you get a couple pieces that guys want to play with. You get a coach that everyone loves, wants to play with. That all matters, and for them, they need all that.
It's not a show without Chandler opining somehow on one of the cities. And I'm here for it. We want to continue to talk a little more LaMelo because we never do. And who knows if we will again. But there was a moment on Saturday where they beat the Pacers. And here he is. He's just shutting down Halliburton. There are 2 seconds left on the clock. Yeah. What do you think about that, Lou?
Man, extremely impressive. This is your young star player going out and getting a big time stop, one-on-one defense. No help, locking up. And I think this trickles down to everybody else. This sets the tone for how the season should be. This sets the tone for expectations. And listen, he was really proud, and you can tell by how his teammates are reacting to him. They were happy to see that. He's trying to establish himself as a two-way player. That play was a great start. And like I said, that type of energy, it trickles down to everybody else to lock in and lock up when it comes down to winning basketball games.
Yeah, that was a fun way to end a game. You don't see it very often. CJ McCollum, when we come back, we will get an injury update on how he's doing. And that man has a family when Run It Back returns.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Yes, it's time. It is time, Shams, for you to enlighten us with what's going on. And this was like kind of a serious one, it seemed like, that came out about CJ McCollum. How's he doing?
Yeah, CJ McCollum has a small collapse of his right lung. This is a similar injury to what he had in 2021, in December of 2021. And that year, he ended up needing 2.5 weeks to fully recover from a collapsed lung. And then he ended up playing within a month of the injury itself. And so right now, the Pelicans do expect this could be an extended absence for him. Obviously prayers up for an injury like this. This is something that obviously came up in testing, something that he felt was happening in his lung area. And at least they were able to detect it and find it. And now he's going to be able to have some time here to recover.
Punctured lung, anything along those lines. Although I will say this, I was, it was concerning more to read it at first, but then you realize when he responded to a tweet talking about his injury, I was like, oh, okay. Because this was the original with the photo that they chose to use, and this was his response. It's very, very well done. He's right. That is a very odd photo to use. Look, Brandon Ingram hurt. Now we get this news out of Pelicans world. We're all sort of on eggshells as far as, are we one Zion away from New Orleans just becoming a seller team, Chandler?
I mean, yeah, for sure. And even with a healthy Zion, this team's not a contender without Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. It takes a village with this team, and they do have the talent, which is sad because their roster They've had guys banged up in and out, but they have a little bit of everything and they play the right way. Willie Green has these guys playing defense, getting out in transition, scoring a lot of points off turnovers, and they're fun to watch. When you look at a guy like Brandon Ingram, the way he can score the ball, the way CJ can shoot the ball, and obviously everybody knows Zion, how electric he could be. We want to see them healthy, and it's just tough because without those two guys, that's a huge onus. Are they going to play Zion so many minutes now that's going to lead to him for another injury? No. So it's just tough, and I don't think they have enough without those two guys to kind of stay in that, top shelf of the Western Conference.
Yeah, Lou, do they have enough? I mean, I know obviously when guys get hurt, that's when other guys have a chance to really step up and show. Who's supposed to do that now on this squad?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Chandler. Other guys got to step up. I don't think they have enough to keep this thing going, but I would like to see more production out of Kira Lewis Jr. He's one of those guys that can go out there and make plays for them on and off the ball, create a lot of energy, both ends of the floor. Matt Ryan is another guy who's a lights out shooter. I would like to see more from, more consistent play. And if Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum are going to be out, I would like to see Zion be that guy. He's been out so much. It's time for you to anchor the ship this time, big fella. So averaging 22 and 6 right now is playing well, but those are the guys that I would like to see kind of anchor this ship, keep them on a steady path. And I don't think they have enough, but if they're going to do it, they need these guys to be there.
Fair enough. Shams, appreciate you. See you bright and early tomorrow. Have the rest of your day be glorious. And now it's time for us with That Man Has a Family. Yeah, we've got some pictures to accompany those words, I think. And there we go. Dun, 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 dun. The nutmeg. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we think? Whoa, wait, what's happening? This ain't it. There it is.
Oh, hey.
There it is.
Like this. Trae Young.
Yeah.
Remember when Trae Young was doing this like every single game? It was his go-to thing. This is almost like an and one embarrassing move that's now become people's bags. Wemby did it.
When did Joe Ingles get to the Magic though?
There's the news.
Joe Ingles? All right.
Breaking news: Joe Ingles is on the Magic.
It's Lou's scoops, guys. We just brought it in. All right, PJ Washington. This is good. I like the idea that you just can take out not one, but two players. I don't know. I'm watching it going, okay, enough with the nutmeg. Let's move on. Bing, ba, ba, bum. All right, here we go. There you go.
Hey.
Okay. Yep. God, angry.
I like this kid's game too a lot.
See, they got stuff. They got stuff in Charlotte.
Yeah, see, but no one even saw this because you got to get league pass to see this dunk.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to see some growth in this game, though. We know he can play above the rim, but I like to see him do different things for his group.
Great pass too, LaMelo.
Yeah, LaMelo. I mean, maybe we should pay more attention there. Kaminga.
I see nothing besides the court.
The court. I knew it was coming.
Come on, look how pretty it looks.
Hey.
Looks like slam ball.
That's all court.
And to top it off, the court is even slippery. Get rid of him.
God, that court looks. I will say this: some courts were definitely more distracting than others. Like Milwaukee's court was fine; it was just brightly, almost white. So yeah, but these are the ones that are all blue or all red. Yikes!
You can see Kaminga got this from Draymond, little sneak dribble handoff, kind of. He learned that from his old vet.
Give me that.
Oh,
just get out of here! Give me that. Yeah,
Man,
that looks. He's not even moving. He's just there. It's weird.
Look at his feet. He barely jumped
at all. It's remarkable.
Well,
I know they should have won this
like
game. They were up by 22 and they lose this game to Toronto. That was a bit of a bummer in overtime. Ugh.
That's a G code. Honestly, that's the best thing about this kid is win or lose, like you just know you get this for the next 15 years. Like who cares?
You get this too.
Oh,
lovely. There's some.
He had a dunk last night, I think it was, where he dunked the ball like down. I saw a tweet. He's on like a Nerf hoop. He dunked the ball like to waist. It was so ridiculous.
It sometimes looks like weird CGI, like he's not real or part of the game and they're CGIing it. It's a very surreal time to watch sometimes because it doesn't look anything like a normal human being to me, and I'm in love with all of it, actually.
Yeah.
It's quite.
I was so ready
forward to
be
seeing
like,
the season go on.
Oh,
Oh my.
oh, let's do that again.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, and
He's got
one.
game, too. I wish this kid would kind of take that next step, and he's gonna get more reps, but he can do it all. He can score, he can bouncy, and he's play one-on-one with Kyrie every single day after practice.
oh wow. That should.
Kyrie
yeah,
ain't
that
helping
should
with
soak in.
this one though. Ooh-wee.
Ooh, wait.
All right. I don't hate it. Taking a quick break here. When we come back, Dogs of the Week, perhaps when more Run It Back returns.
The run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, the run it back, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Dog of the Week. We're 2 seasons in, and there's a list of dudes that are continuing to impress. Tyrese Halliburton. Just throw away the LaMelo highlight from earlier because that was the only low mark, right? He's averaging 24, a league-leading 12.4 assists per game. Look, he can do it all. I think that's fair to say, Lou. He's been going. He's been having a nice time actually over the last week. How would you describe? Oh, that court. How would you describe his game?
Straight up baller. It's a little unorthodox, a little on the Kevin Martin side of things, how he shoots the basketball, but he gets it done, man. Flat out baller, averaging 24, 12 and a half, trying to do his everything that he can to lead this Indiana team to as many wins as he can. What more can you ask from the guy? Straight up baller.
Chandler, is he doing enough for you to tune in to Pacers games? Like, is he enough?
No.
I'm not gonna tune in. I'm not gonna tune in on a night to watch the Pacers. But like, you know what's funny? I was thinking of who does this kid play like, and it's Kevin Martin. The way he shoots the ball, the way he moves. He's fun because he's one of the last remaining like true point guards, right? Like he just plays the game the right way. Averaging 12 and a half assists on that team is really, really impressive. He clearly is setting up guys. He's getting them in the right spots. I love the fact last year that he just kept it moving, was an all-star with all the noise, the Wally Zerbiak stuff last year. I love him. I think he's very good. He's got the unorthodox looking jumper, but he doesn't turn the ball over much. He leads the league in assists. He is an extremely, extremely high talent with great vision. And just he's one of those point guards where if I'm playing, like I want that guy as my point guard. He's making the right play. He's dishing the rock. He does it all.
He also has been known to bring his dog to work, and that speaks to me personally. So I'm a big fan of that as well. Next up, rising combo guard from the Pacific Northwest, Shaedon Sharpe. He's averaging just under 21, 6 rebounds, a little over 3 assists in 4 games last week. Look, they're 3-1 last week. Okay, you got to start somewhere. It's only his second season, Chandler. What do you like about his game?
I like that he's 20 years old, Michelle. It's crazy. He's 20. I don't care that this team's tanking or rebuilding. Call it whatever you want to call it. Kid's averaging 21 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in the NBA at 20 years old. And this kid, when you watch him play, he's obviously bouncy. I wish they would have just put him in the rookie sophomore game number 1 last year because he deserved it. But then we could have got him in the dunk contest because this kid is the bounciest kid in the league. If he enters the dunk contest this year, he will win the dunk contest. He is that bouncy. He is that creative. But he's not just a leaper. He's not just a Gerald Green, a Derek. This kid is a bucket. He can handle the ball and pick and roll. He can get out in transition. He can guard multiple positions. This kid is a absolute stud. And we didn't see much from him in college, right? He barely played or he didn't play at all, I think. And they were that good. He still took them. They used their pick on him. And it's proven them right that they looked really smart because this kid's got potential and 20 years old, leading team in the NBA in scoring. It's impressive.
I mean, look, obviously Blazers fans have Dame and CJ as their most recent memory of a pretty good duo. Is it possible, Lou, that with Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot, that this could be their next version, the modern version?
I think we're ways away from that. Let's just be patient with these young guys and just enjoy the development of what they're doing right now. But Shaedon Sharpe was one of those guys. I actually got to see him for the first time play during a Clippers home opener. And he was one of the bright spots that stood out in that game when they got blew out. He was playing with a lot of poise, a lot of confidence. He was one of those guys that was just going out there and going for his. And so I think they got some pretty good makings of a pretty good backcourt. We'll see what happens. You know, I honestly feel like this is still Anthony Simon's team once he comes back from injury. I think he's going to be the guy that leads them, but they're off to a good start for some young guys.
You're so even keel. I just want you to say something like negative. Okay, this is it. The dog of the
It's still
week.
early.
I know it's early. We got time. There's no surprise here. The guy that's going to get it this week is Victor. Okay. Oh, yeah, he's got a bug heart. I'm too excited about that. All right, his last 3 games have been silly. He had 18 against the Suns, 38 in that second game against the Suns. And just the blocks, for me, the blocks are the most fun. 20 points, 9 and 4 or 5 against the Raptors. That was in a loss. He also became the first rookie in San Antonio with 20 points and 5 blocks in a game since Timothy. He's averaging over 25, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, just under 4 blocks over the 3 games last week. They went 2-1 in the last 7 days. So Chandler, you got to start an entire franchise. Tell me why it's Victor Wembanyama that you're building around. If it is, but I'm just assuming.
Yeah, it is. And that 38 point against the Suns last week, that was it. That's all I need to see. He gave us a little bit of everything, and this kid truly is mesmerizing to watch. And you know what? Everything you hear out of San Antonio, out of the league, the kid's the greatest kid. He's there early. He's staying there late. He's the best teammate. He's humble. He's everything.
He got the Shams scoop.
Yeah, he's that Tim Duncan. He is that Dirk teammate where everybody loves and gravitates towards. And a lot of times these kids can be assholes and they can be arrogant. Everything you hear, he's not. And that's more impressive to me and obviously we know how good he is and how much attention and love he's been getting for so long. And the fact that hasn't changed him and his head is down and he is just working and grinding and getting better every single game. So yeah, to win a game tonight, no, I'm not taking him as the first pick, but for the future, it's not even close. This kid could go down as one of the greatest players of all time. We're talking 5 games into his career. You know how impressive that is? It's ridiculous.
It's kind of silly, Lou. Look, you don't have to be an expert in anything to just look at him on a court and realize there's a mismatch situation going on every single time. But defensively, are we not paying enough attention to what he's doing defensively?
No, I think we are. I think some of his most mesmerizing plays are the block shots and the things that he's done on a defensive end. I watched him block Klay Thompson's 3-pointer from the free throw line. We just seen him block another shot without jumping. You know, at 7'2", 7'3", guarding guys on the perimeter, he's going to alter a lot of shots. He's going to create a lot of confusion on it. Look at that on the defensive end. And so I don't think we're overlooking it. I think that's part of the reason that we love him so much.
I mean, that's just not normal. He's plus 1,000. He's got the 4th best odds right now to go on and win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, to be able to do something like that in a rookie year is kind of crazy. Chandler, any chance this happens?
Yeah, there's a chance for sure. If he keeps blocking 4 or 5 shots and he keeps altering shots, he keeps getting rebounds and doing what he's doing, for sure. I think his too, it's a shame because there's no stat for it, but when you watch them play, just his presence in the paint or his presence help side makes people that get in the lane kick the ball instead of shooting that, floater or that 80% layup. They're now forced to kick it to a 30% 3 on the wing just because this kid is there. So that doesn't show up in the stat and the box score, but just his presence alone is so valuable to have him out there. And then, plus his defensive ratings and his rebounds and his block shots. I don't see anyone else running away with it. So I love him. I love him getting this. That would be special as a rookie.
Be kind of crazy, actually. All right, Lou, I don't know who you in your mind have as the face of the NBA right now. I think if you ask anybody, it might be different answers. But is there a time or a place or a couple seasons from now where you could see Wemby being the face of this entire league?
Quite possibly. Right now, I say Jason Tatum is that guy that's next up on that list of really taking over and being the front runner for the guy that's going to be in the commercials, that's going to be the guy that goes out and be the face of the NBA. But if not him, I see a Euro takeover. I see it can be a Wemby, it can be a Jokic, it can be a Luka, but I think it's going to be one of the overseas guys for sure, if not Jason Tatum.
What about you, Chandler? I kind of like that question. Who do you have now and when could he be?
Well, there's still this batch of the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KDs that are kind of on their way out. Then there's these big man regime with Joel and Jokic, but I love the Tatum pick. I love the Devin Booker. But you put a couple years, some more time on this kid, he's gonna be right there. This kid is special, man.
I think the difference between he and Tim Duncan is Tim Duncan didn't want to talk. Like he didn't want to do interviews. He didn't want to answer your questions. Had no time for it. Not interested. This kid is like a hybrid of the youth and also that. So it's kind of crazy to watch and where we got games tonight. Boston, Jason Tatum at Timberwolves. Look, 2 weeks through and they look pretty legit, Chandler. Could they win 60 plus? You got to mark them for that?
Yeah, I think so for sure. And this is a team that they obviously add Drew Holiday, they add Porzingis. Those guys have looked good and they've looked solid. They're playing their part. They're playing defense. And that duo, obviously they left a sour taste in people's mouth last year in the playoffs, but Tatum and Brown, they can do everything. They can do it all. They can score inside out. They can defend. They're tough. I like them a lot, and I love Derek White. He's one of my favorite role players in the league. So yeah, I love them. And as long as they keep getting things from the Horfords, the Hausers, the guys like that, they're a full, balanced, versatile team with arguably the best player in the NBA, Jason Tatum. So I think they're going to win 60 plus.
That seems like a safe bet at this point. On the other side of things, the Timberwolves, I mean, I guess depends on who you ask. If you ask Kat, he's got a different answer, but some would say Anthony Edwards is this team. Lou, he's averaging over 26 a game so far. Is he for you the face of this Timberwolves squad?
1,000%. I think he's been the face of that franchise since the day he got drafted. He's always been one of the best players to anchor that team. Cat is a great player, but I think now that's definitely Anthony Edwards' team for sure.
I mean, look, I feel like along with the Raptors, I feel like with Cat in that situation, may even Gobert, although you're kind of stuck. We've been talking about like, how do you get rid of them? How do you move on? Do you move on? I mean, again, it's deja vu all over again, Chandler, but is there a world in which we see Karl Anthony Towns move on from Minnesota?
Yeah, I think so for sure. And I think, again, they made their bed with Rudy. They gave up all those assets. Anthony Edwards, if he's on, any other team, he's in that conversation of the face of the league. He's that good. And I just think they can get a lot more for Towns than anybody else. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they can bring in players that can help now and grow and learn and build with Anthony Edwards. For sure, get rid of him.
Taking a quick break. When we come back, we wrap things up with a little prop party. This time, we're going perfect. When Run It Back returns.
Run it up, then run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
We got a little mini giant prop party for today, Chandler. You're up first. It's the Wemby version.
Yeah, I love this. I think Wemby, first of all, I think he should shoot 6, 7, 8 threes a game. So the fact that the over is 1.5, give me the over all night long.
Okay, that's it. Lou?
If Chandler likes him to make 2 3-pointers, I say he's going to do it on his way to 25 plus points. I like him having a big scoring night tonight.
And I like to go big or go home. Give me 5 or more blocks. Why not? Let's make it historic. Let's make it a spectacle. It's the only way to make money, or so I'm told. That's going to do it for us today. We did it, guys. We will be back bright and early tomorrow with more Run It Back. Enjoy your Mondays.
Run it up, then run it back, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, then run it back, run it up, run it back.